Negativity in a toxic workplace is infecting you. At least that's how I felt in my toxic job. I distinctly remember talking to my boss one day and saying, the negativity here is making me a negative person and that's making me not like myself. Can you relate? I wish I had known these 6 simple strategies to stay positive when you are surviving a toxic job. If you are here to protect yourself from that toxic job vibe, tap the like button and let's get straight into it. The first strategy to stay positive in a toxic work environment is to set boundaries. A few weeks ago on my channel, we talked about narcissistic manipulation tactics that happen in the workplace, and one of them that we talked about was the complete disregard for work-life boundaries. So let's talk about what boundaries are real quick, because they are not cute little ideas. Work-life boundaries are the necessary parameters for you to have positive and productive relationships, workplace dynamics, and so on. While some work-life boundaries are external, like the time and place you choose to do your work, or what you choose to share about yourself at work, not all boundaries relate to interactions that you're having at work. A lot of your work-life boundaries are going to be internal. That is, their emotional boundaries and psychological boundaries. Like how many you'll give about that toxic coworker who's gossiping about you. This actually brings me directly into the second tactic to stay positive in a toxic workplace. Remember, the toxicity is not about you. When you're working with that toxic coworker, like Patty, who's gossiping about everyone, Nick, who would rat his own mother out to the boss if it helped advance his own career, or Avery, who would probably sell their soul to get that promotion. All of that stuff has nothing to do with you. I know that it can feel like it because their behaviors might actually be aimed at you. For instance, Patty is gossiping about how much your new handbag cost. Nick ran to your boss to tell on you for appearing offline on Slack for more than an hour yesterday. And Avery, well, Avery's doing Avery things. The consistency between each of these situations and any other scenario you're going to encounter with a toxic coworker is that they're all just projecting their own insecurity, their own feelings of inadequacy, and their own complete lack of confidence in their own abilities on you. Of course, it's extremely annoying and frustrating to deal with. Work would be so much easier if the humans weren't humaning the way that they do. In a toxic work environment, you need to constantly remind yourself that the way that people treat you is telling you how they feel about themselves, not you. This is really important. So over on my Instagram, I'm gonna go put a little reel up with a mini affirmation that's gonna remind you of it, that you can save as a reminder anytime that you need it. The next strategy to stay positive in a toxic work environment is one that, even if you're not in a toxic work environment, have a pre and post work ritual. Actually, I'm gonna give you a few prompts. So if you have a notebook and a pen handy, or your phone's notes app, whatever works for you. I've worked with hundreds of toxic job survivors. I have spoken with thousands of you, and there is a commonality to how the day starts and ends when you are in a toxic work environment. And I was totally guilty of this too when I was in my toxic job. The day begins with dread. I don't want to go to work, and ends feeling angry and ranty, and maybe even closing out the day with a post-work trauma dump. I personally used to enjoy mine with a glass of wine, but we're gonna circle back on that in just a minute. I know that not everyone hearing this is going to like it, but it's the truth. You're setting the tone for your own day. Shifting your energy can be remarkably easy. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to write down whatever comes to mind first. What activity makes you feel good? It could be listening to music, meditating, discussing Tink's latest podcast with your best friends, having a dance party to Taylor Swift, or repeating affirmations into the mirror. Start with figuring out your go-to mood boosters. Now, which of these can you easily and reliably do in the morning? Like, can you multitask with affirmations and Taylor Swift while you're brushing your teeth in the morning? Get intentional about cultivating the best possible energy as you begin your day. Next, are there any that you can sprinkle throughout your day? Like a quick visual meditation about a protective gold bubble before you walk into a meeting with your toxic boss. And the final ritual to implement, and I think this is the most important one, especially when you're activating a job search to escape your toxic job, interrupting you really quickly to tell you about my new workshop. WTF just happened. Unpacking your toxic job to break the toxic job cycle. It's never too early or too late to get over your toxic job. If you'd like to sign up, I know the seats are going to go quickly. You can go to toxicjobrehab.com. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. How can you reset your energy after work? This should involve letting go of the bad energy and boosting the good vibes. For example, going for a walk in nature can elevate both your serotonin and your dopamine, the happy chemicals in your brain, and can help reduce stress and anxiety. And I'm a hippie, so of course I love the role that water can play here, like an after-work swim or a shower where you could literally wash away the toxic vibes of the day. Magic. Of course, this reset ritual is going to be unique to you. No matter what, this needs to be based on things that make you feel good, no matter what they are, with a tiny caveat. And that caveat is actually the next strategy to stay positive in a toxic work environment. Choose your coping mechanisms. As I mentioned, when I was in my toxic job, I decompressed at the end of the day with a glass of wine and a rant session. And I know I'm not the only one to do this, but the thing is, those coping mechanisms make it worse. Here's why. When we look at coping mechanisms like complaining, having a drink, or entering sloth mode and scrolling TikTok or watching Netflix mindlessly, they make you feel better, but only temporarily. These activities are flooding your brain with dopamine, dealing cheap and easy hit after hit. But here's the problem. Alcohol is a depressant. Research shows a correlation between screen time and depression. I hope you guys are in audio only listening mode. And that complaining actually makes you feel worse. This is why I want you to be so intentional about the coping mechanisms that you cultivate. You can elevate yourself and your mood by elevating your actions. And there's a ton of positive coping mechanisms that you can try on and see if they fit. Exercise, talking and laughing with a friend, a mindfulness practice like journaling or meditation, or even just reading. These will help you decrease stress and also help you improve your mood and even your confidence, which is so important when you're in a toxic work environment. You know I'm a realist, and I do want to acknowledge when I say this that sometimes we do just need a rant or whatever. Sometimes that is part of your process for feeling your feelings, and it's valid. But overall, we can choose the coping mechanisms that we choose to practice, and we can make a decision to create ones that are going to better support us. Which brings me to a really important point. And if you've been hanging with me for a while, you've probably already noticed it, but I think it's a conversation that we just need to have, especially when we think about it in terms of staying positive in a toxic work environment. Choose positive inputs. When you're in a negative work environment or a toxic job, you are in those negative, low vibrations all day long. And that's draining AF. It's also very easy to loiter in those bad vibes. Frankly, in my YouTube backend, I can see it. And this has actually been one of the catalysts for a very intentional shift on my part, on my channel, and in all the content I create. So much of what is out there about toxic jobs and toxic work environments is commentary that is overwhelmingly negative. And I know listening to reaction videos about what awful thing a CEO just did, or even watching my toxic job series, gives you affirmation, and that drama in the conversations is dealing you one of those dopamine hits. But it's cultivating that negativity not just at work, it's cultivating it in your life. And of course, this goes beyond just YouTube. It's the shows we watch, the books we read, the podcasts that we listen to, the conversations that we have. You get to choose the energy that you live in. And when we're not intentional about what energy we are choosing to live in, especially when we're living in negative energy 8 hours or more a day, it's very easy for it to permeate our entire lives. Do not let it. Find positive content. Find inspirational podcasts. Watch a funny show. Find positive inputs that genuinely elevate your mood, your outlook, and your life. And I really hope that my channel, especially going forward, is a space that you can count on for that. And that you subscribe and hang with me for the vibes as much as the actual content. Speaking of elevating vibes, the next way to stay positive in a toxic work environment is something that you can do every single day. And not only is it going to make you more positive, it will increase your happiness baseline and improve your resilience. You know, an essential thing when you're in a toxic work environment. Gratitude. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Gratitude changed my life. This is one practice that I actually had when I was in my toxic job, and I attribute it to not being completely destroyed by that toxic work environment. Take time every day to find at least one positive thing that happened. Something that you're grateful for. And it doesn't have to be something big and life-changing. It can be something really simple. Like maybe you just had the best lavender latte of your life. Or your best friend said something that made you laugh until your stomach hurt. Find the good in every day. Especially when you're dealing with negativity and tension, this is a game changer. In fact, I want you to go and watch this video right now so that you can dig into it more. But before you go, if this video helped you, give it a thumbs up. Really helps my channel, makes you my favorite career bestie, win-win situation. As always, my friend, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.